All right, good morning, good afternoon, good evening to those around the globe watching, listening to this episode of Talking Sports Podcast. First and foremost, we just want to say thank you to everyone who has subscribed, every listener, everyone who's watching, all the likes. Keep it up, keep it coming. The entire sports world is talking about this dismantling of the Dallas Cowboys by the Green Bay Packers, the disaster in Big D, whatever you want to call it, just absolutely ridiculous. We're definitely going to be getting into that as we
Sure.
continue in the show. But first, we want to talk about the NBA. Another big trade has come down. It sends Pascal Siakam to the Indiana Pacers for let's see, Bruce Brown. The Raptors are receiving Bruce Brown, Kerry Lewis Jr., Jordan Nwora, two 2024 first round picks, and a 2026 conditional first round pick to the Pacers for Pascal Siakam and future second round pick. That's it. So a big trade in the NBA, big trade for
Yep.
Indiana. Jeremiah, what are your thoughts about this trade? Does it move the needle in any way for the Pacers?
I feel like you got to say yes. Um, I think Pascal Siakam could be the final piece that the Pacers need to really take that next step. Um, you got Therese Halliburton, you got Buddy Hield, you got Pascal Siakam, and Miles Turner. And then you got some more pieces with Jalen Smith, Obi Toppin, TJ McConnell. Like the roster is building, and
Mm-hmm.
you have to have more than just a starting five. You got to have depth. But that core is really important, and I think that's
For
what they
sure.
built with with Siakam now. But I think it'll be interesting to see what they can do in the East. I mean, the East is now, I guess, we could consider more loaded than the West, maybe. So
Maybe.
maybe yeah, that's debatable. But
Yeah.
we'll see what the Pacers can do. I don't know. The Raptors are full rebuild mode, I guess.
Yeah. We talked about it when we discussed the OG Anunoby trade to
Right.
the Knicks a couple episodes ago. If you haven't seen that episode, go check it out. I think this episode, it's either one or two, if I'm not mistaken. But go check that out on our page.
Two.
Yeah. But they're just continuing to offload pieces, continuing beginning their rebuild. And so this was another key piece of their team in the past that has, grown one championship with the Raptors. And so final year of his contract, it wasn't they weren't sure if he was going to resign with them. If I'm not mistaken, he said he wasn't going to resign with them. So
Right.
you had to get rid of him. Can't just let him walk for nothing. And so trade him to the Pacers. And to be honest, I was not expecting this amount of players and picks for Pascal, especially being on the last year of his contract. I guess you have to get some pieces, since don't know whether he's going to resign or not. Two first round picks, 2024,
Yep.
conditional 2026. So that's three first round picks. I didn't think Pascal was worth that, to be honest with
I agree. Yeah. Two, maybe two at best, but
you. Yeah.
three's crazy.
Yeah. And so hopefully he resigns because if he doesn't, you lost three first round picks.
Well, that's what I was
And
gonna ask. Is he staying? Like, is do we know? Is he gonna go free agency
the
still, or
the Pacers are working on a um, extension for him.
okay?
Um, we'll see what happens. But you better hope he resigns because that's a haul.
Yeah, right.
That's a haul. And I
For
mean,
sure.
the Raptors getting 3 first-round picks for him is pretty good. We don't really
Yeah,
know what the how. I mean, Pacers are firmly in the playoffs right now, so
true.
pick isn't going to be that good. But 29-year-old going to the Pacers, he's averaging 22 points, 6 rebounds, 5 assists. So I mean, he's a solid player,
Yeah.
and I think he's going to be important for their playoff push as the season continues to go on. But who do you think won the trade?
Um, I think
I
right.
know it maybe it's too early to tell, but because we got to see what the picks are and how he plays with them. But
Right, you're right. That's what I was gonna say. Like right now, I think it'd be easy to say the Pacers, but with that many picks, I mean, the Raptors could turn that into
yeah,
a very nice core. I mean, you look at the Thunder with what they did with getting rid of the big three,
hmm
plus other players that came in, and now they have a great young squad. So could be
right.
seeing something similar with the Raptors. So
Yeah, the only problem with that is like, especially for the Raptors, the drafts coming up, you don't really know what's out there. Like
true,
these drafts aren't. I mean, you got a couple players, but these drafts aren't star studded like they have been in the past. So
right?
what are they? Are they gonna package the picks to get players that are already playing in the NBA, or
Yeah,
I mean, because they're not going to be first round, their first pick, second pick, third pick, because the Pacers are a good team,
right.
and they got the 2024 conditional from the Pelicans that they got. Um, no, so the Pacers received the second round pick from the Pelicans, but the 2026 from the Pacers, that's probably going to be even worse because Tyrese is coming into form, becoming a superstar in this league.
Yep,
Um, that pick, who knows? It might be toward the latter end in the 20s or something like that. So,
right.
um, very interesting trade. The Raptors, Bruce Brown is already in talks of being traded again.
Yep,
He's peaking interest from a lot of teams, including the Lakers. It's so crazy because after Bruce Brown won that championship with Denver, he was a
yep,
hot commodity, and
right.
Pacers paid a lot of money for him. I don't know if it didn't pan out or they just thought he was expendable just because he had just been there, just gotten there. I mean,
Yeah,
it's now he's on the move with the Raptors. He's gonna be on the move again because he's a hot commodity. So interesting trade between the Pacers and the Raptors. Let us know down in the comment section what you all think of the trade and any other NBA news that is piquing your interest right now. Let us know. All right,
sure.
Jeremiah. So let's get into the main topics of our episode today.
Let's
The
do it.
NFL playoffs.
Yes, sir.
Um, Last weekend was an incredible weekend for sports. Had some
Crazy.
huge games, big shockers.
Yep.
What was your takeaway last week from the Super Wild Card weekend?
Honestly, I was reminded of college basketball from this NFL weekend.
Ooh, okay, okay. Talk about it.
March is coming up.
Yes, it
It's in
is.
it's in a few months.
Yeah,
And this wild card weekend really reminded me that the higher seed can beat a lower seed. Um, it was just crazy with the Texans beating the Browns,
yeah,
Packers beating the Cowboys, like things things we didn't really expect, but after how the games panned out, it made sense.
yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so, and then again with Bucks Eagles, um, just crazy. Lower seed, the higher seeds came through,
Right.
and I think they're upsets. I mean, I think you can call them upsets. So
Yeah.
it's crazy.
Yeah. That's interesting that you mentioned March and then, the upsets that happened, especially in March Madness college basketball, which we're excited to talk about on this channel. I can't wait for March, us getting
Absolutely.
into the college basketball aspect of the show. But you mentioned the upsets and how the higher seeds won. And if you look back at the NBA playoffs this last year,
Yep.
we saw that as well.
It's true.
Upsets, higher seeds, teams from the play-in going all the way to the conference finals, and
Yep.
the Miami Heat, going to the finals to play
Right.
the Denver Nuggets in the finals. Are we going to see the same thing in the NFL? Are we going to see a 6 seed or Packers are the highest seed here right now? They're the 7 seed. Are we going to see them go all the way to the NFC Championship? Um, you
Yeah.
know, are we going to see the Texans, you know, upset the Ravens? They
Yep.
had a massive game at home against the Cleveland Browns. So let's talk about that game. Let's talk about Houston versus
Let's do it.
Cleveland. CJ Stroud is an amazing quarterback. I'm not even calling him a rookie quarterback. He's an amazing quarterback.
Yep.
People are already calling him top 5 in the league.
Yeah. I mean, I honestly, I would agree with that, especially with this past season and how many quarterbacks were hurt.
Yeah,
I think it's pretty easy to put him um, top five in the league, and he became the youngest QB to win a playoff game.
yep,
And it's shout out to him. He's a fellow Christian, like we mentioned before. Um, Huge
shout
props
out
to the
to
guy.
CJ.
And we mentioned this before the show actually started, but he only had 16 completions,
Yeah.
3 touchdowns, of course, but he didn't have to do that much. So I mean, what do you think was the reason why the Texans really won this game?
Well, I think it's two things. Cleveland played Houston earlier in the season,
Yep,
and Cleveland won that game. And I see the main difference when it's the same teams, same players, is coaching and adjustments.
yep,
The coaching staff for Houston is incredible.
yep,
D'Amico Ryans, he's proving to be a very good head coach. Bobby Slowick, the offensive coordinator, is gaining interest all over the league as one of the top tier offensive coordinators, and he's
yep.
probably had some interviews already for head coaching jobs. He more than likely will as playoffs continue. Um, and so I think that was the key. They were at home. That always helps. Well, no, no, I'll say always. We'll get into that later. Uh,
Yep.
it sometimes helps when you have home field advantage, and they were rolling. I really think the key though for that game was Joe Flacco. The two pick sixes really just it
Yeah.
killed them. They couldn't recover from that, and it put them in a hole, and it really changed their game plan. It seemed like they bracketed Maury Cooper, and they didn't allow him to get off. Um, it was just like Browns couldn't run the ball.
Yep.
CJ really took control of the game, and no mistakes. It's very important in the playoffs. You cannot make mistakes, and that'll be a theme for the wild card weekend from last week, and it'll more than likely be a theme moving forward the rest of these playoffs because if you make mistakes in the playoffs, it will cost you even more than a regular season game. And
It's
and
true.
they didn't make mistakes, and CJ was just carving them up.
Yep. Yeah. No, I agree with that. It's hard to see the Browns like have such a quick rise and fall. With the beginning of the season,
Yeah,
started off kind of rough. I mean, they looked okay,
yeah,
but
they
Deshaun got hurt.
yeah they really had an up and down season. The injuries with the quarterbacks, trying to figure out who was going to play quarterback. Nick Chubb going
Right.
down.
Yep.
Um, and then Joe Flacco, they getting him off the street and bringing him in,
Right.
and
Yep.
he's just doing what he did, bringing him back. But you know, when you have a team like that where there's so much flux and so much chaos, eventually it's gonna run out, and that's what we saw. The run
Yeah.
ended, the Cinderella run ended. But shout out to them for getting into the playoffs
It's true.
because I mean it could have been like the Eagles. They could have just slid and fell.
Yeah.
Um, well, I mean technically they did, but they could have fallen earlier in the season.
Right.
Um, instead you know Joe Flacco kind of uplifted them, and the defense really carried them. But does defense win championships anymore? That'll be a discussion that we have later on in the season as the playoffs continue. Is it going to
Right.
be the defenses that carry, or is it going to be the offenses that really bring you to the forefront of these playoff wins? So let's move on to those Eagles.
Let's do it.
Before we do that, shout out to Flam. Thank you so much for coming on last week.
Yes.
If you're
Appreciate
watching,
you.
appreciate you. Sorry that the Browns couldn't do it for you. We
Yep.
know you were hoping and praying for a Browns win, but there's always next year. So let's talk about the Eagles and the Bucks. I think everybody pretty much called this game. The Eagles were in a downward spiral heading into the playoffs. This is, understatement saying that
Yeah.
they limped into the playoffs. It was a free fall, and it continued in the playoffs, just going 32-9, just being absolutely destroyed. No offensive presence. The Eagles could not tackle anything out there.
Nope.
It was terrible. It was embarrassing to watch. And I'm a
Yep.
Cowboys fan. And I was like, what is going on?
Yeah.
This is it was just bad all around. And a shout out to the Bucks for not, falling into the trap and letting them get confidence in any way. What were your thoughts of the game?
Yeah. Like you said, we've been calling it for a while. Um, the Eagles were never really a great team to begin with. Um, they
I agree.
they appeared to be great because Jalen Hurts put the backpack on and carried them.
Hmm. Yeah.
Um, but I think what it was that the defense was barely getting by early on.
Yeah.
Um, you had big wins against the Chiefs and other teams, but the Eagles gave up, and it was clear before this game they already gave up. It was clear against the Giants and the
Yeah.
Cardinals. Um, you have chemistry being thrown out the window with AJ Brown
Yeah.
and the coach not getting along, and him AJ being hurt, whatever the case may be.
Hmm.
Um, they gave up, and you it's crazy that you say that about professional teams, but
Right.
they did. They
Right.
gave up.
Yeah.
And when morale gets low, or when you nothing seems to be going right, people are getting hurt,
Hmm.
you just it happens. So yeah, they gave up, but hey, that's not a pass. They they got what they deserved. They lost. Uh, didn't win the division, so
Right.
Eagles are not flying high, I guess you could say.
No, no, they're not. Um, and so moving forward, what's next for the Eagles? I mean, you got to hire some offensive and defensive coordinators, right? I mean, the offense didn't look the same with their offensive coordinator leaving for uh, Indianapolis Colts,
Right.
their defensive coordinator going to Arizona. They those two sides of the ball, they didn't look the same, and so that that's very that's like college almost to me. Like, and Were they running a college style team? Were they running a college style offense and defense? Like you see where a lot of offenses and defenses change once their coordinators leave, but that's in college. Like these are professional players, like you said. And the fact that they couldn't adjust to even get some semblance of how they played last season,
Mhm.
um, it's mind blowing to me. And we'll talk about coaching a little bit later after we discuss the Packers and Cowboys.
Yeah,
Um, but they have some big decisions to make going into next season because I mean they can't bring this team back. They
yeah,
got to make some changes big or it's just going to be even worse. They may not make the playoffs next
right.
season. And just being frank with you, if I'm picking a team that made the playoffs this season and is not going to make the playoffs next season, that's the Eagles for me. And it happens every year where team makes the playoffs and then next season they don't. So I'm saying it now. Eagles are not making the playoffs next season unless they make some big changes.
Yeah, yeah, I could definitely see that being the Eagles. Um, let's get into the game a little bit. You have Jalen Hurts was 25 for 35, 250 yards,
Hmm.
one touchdown. Devontae Smith had 8 receptions, 148 yards,
Yeah.
12 targets.
Hmm.
DeAndre Swift had 10 carries for 34 yards, and his longest rush was 17 yards.
One rush was half of it.
Correct. If you look back through the Eagles' games this year, their best games were when Jalen Hurts and DeAndre Swift were running the ball.
Yeah.
And you have Jalen Hurts only had one carry. Now he may be banged up. He may not be able to run as much like he could have early on. That's fine. But
Yeah.
it seems like you really got away from your game plan. And I get it. You go down big early. You try to have to throw your way back into the game. I understand that. But you have to try and establish your play style early on. And we'll talk about that more with Cowboys and Packers as well. But
Yeah.
you get away from your game plan, what's been working for you all year, you can't expect much. And Baker just he was gonna have his way with the defense, however they dialed it
Yeah.
up. So
Right. So yeah, they Jalen Hurts is injured, and I
yeah,
won't be surprised. I won't be surprised if we see later on where he's getting a surgery or
yeah,
some type of um, you know surgery to get whatever he injured back
right,
in good condition because all those tush pushes they're gonna have to change the game plan
yep,
because you paid him the money to make him your franchise quarterback, but you're not valuing him in a way where he can maintain health and durability throughout the season. You know, as a quarterback, you're going to get hit a lot, even without running. And so,
true,
sacks, pressures, quarterback hits, you're going to get hit regardless. So, making him run, making him do those tush pushes is not sustainable for
it's true.
a good season. And they saw that. It reared its ugly head
Yep,
and something's gonna have to change. But shout out to the Bucks. They did what they were supposed to do. They won at home,
yep.
and they move on to play the Lions tomorrow. Let's move to quickly. We'll discuss Bills and Dolphins and
Okay,
Chiefs Dolphins. I'm sorry, Steel. Sorry, Chiefs Dolphins Bills Steelers.
Steelers. Yep,
Yeah.
got you.
Um, the Chiefs, yeah, they were dominant in every facet of the game. Defense was remarkable, um, but I think we'll see this week. Was Miami just too cold? Is that even an excuse? Is that even something you could bring up in this game, or was it football reasons that caused the game to go how it did?
I think the easy answer is that it was too cold. Uh, Teams from further south aren't built for cold weather,
Hmm.
and that could play a part in it. But we mentioned this last week, I think, when we were doing a little bit of predictions. But the
Yeah,
Dolphins were limping into this game. Um, there was a point I was watching the game. I think it was like maybe 3 or 4 plays, kind of back to back to back. Player dropped, another player dropped. They just had a lot of injuries. So I say that's why they lost. But the shout out to the Chiefs. They It was cold, obviously. Weather was horrible, but they still did what they were supposed to do.
yeah, yeah,
Pacheco
for sure.
Pacheco had a great game. But Dolphins, yeah, I think injuries, mixed with cold weather. Maybe you could say lack of experience.
Yeah, that's true too.
I think that's probably why they lost this one.
Yeah, yeah. I think it was the Chiefs. If we I've been a Chiefs fan ever since Mahomes has been in the league for the past 5 or 6 years, and you start to see them in the playoffs. The offense plays a different way. In the regular season, they put up points. They, Mahomes' mastery, Travis Kelsey being who he is. This season was different. They had a lot of drops. They have a lot of young receivers. Rasheed Rice being a rookie, we talked about him. But in the playoffs, it looks the same, and I'll tell you why. Especially from the offensive perspective, Mahomes, he doesn't make mistakes.
Sure.
Nope, no picks, no fumbles, um, timely throws, timely runs when you need him to. Um, and you see a dominant receiver, whether it be Kelsey, but last week it was Rasheed Rice, 130 yards. Um, I want to say 8 catches. Um,
Yep, he catches 130
Travis,
yards.
8 catches, 130 yards, and a touchdown. Those are numbers that you typically see from Kelsey, but he's taking a step back. He did have 7 catches for 71 yards, so he had some timely catches as well. But it was really Rasheed Rice staking his claim as the best wide receiver in the game for the Chiefs for this game, and you really can't go wrong when you have an amazing quarterback that gets people open. When they catch the ball, they can be dangerous, and a defense that's just it's just incredible. And I want to say this because this is baffling to me when they were doing the All Pro nominations and picks. The Jarius Sneed should have been an All Pro, and
100%.
I cannot understand the life of me why he was not. Now I understand DeRon Bland, he had a good game, but for those listening, for those watching, I want you all to Google. You'll be able to find it. Google or YouTube L'Jarius Sneed, Tyreek Hill, and that one play. He pressed him into the dirt. It was one of the most crazy presses I've ever seen. He jammed him up at the line, and it wrecked the whole play. And the amount of strength and technique that you have to do that without drawing a flag or and I don't even think they talked about it in the game, but I saw it on Twitter. Oh, by the way, follow us on Twitter at TSPJDN. We're there talking. All of our episodes are on there. Follow us there. But I saw it on Twitter and they were talking about it. It was an incredible press. And just like I tweeted out, that press was, again, all-star snub. He tried out the shout out to Trent McDuffie. He did make second team, which he should have, because those corners on those sides are locked down, and they're going to be tough to beat. That defense is incredible. They're going to be tough to beat. Um, but yeah, I just thought the Chiefs were their usual dominant selves in in the playoffs, and I think we're gonna continue to see that. But our picks are coming later. What are your thoughts on the game? Do you have anything else to mention with that?
Yeah, I think it's crazy. Like, can't you need to be able to pick multiple players for like the All Pro.
Yeah,
But no, yeah, I feel bad. We'll get into picks in a minute, but I feel bad for Stephon Diggs and Gabe Davis coming up because they're about to get locked down. These Chiefs corners have been doing it all season long. They're locking
yeah.
wide receivers down. I think Tyreek tweeted it himself after the game when he said he jammed me into the ground, like something like that.
Yeah,
But it was crazy. It was crazy.
yeah,
So yeah, Chiefs defense, shout out.
yeah. No, we haven't seen a Chiefs defense like this before.
It's true.
And I really feel like a lot of people were discussing the Chiefs in a way where it seemed like the offense wasn't how it looked previously. But when you have a defense like that, you don't have to put up 35, 40 points a game.
Yeah,
If you hit 30, that's just a plus. But you saw they can win this way. They can win by only scoring 20 something points a game because their defense is so dominant. Now,
they could have won with 10.
they could have. They could have. But I think if you do get in a shootout, what other quarterback would you want in a shootout? I mean, you got Patrick Mahomes, the best
Got the
quarterback
best
in the
one.
league. So,
That's right.
um, if you want to play that way, you can play that way, but they don't need to. And I think Patrick Mahomes knows that.
Right.
He knows what he has on the other side of the ball, and he's not gonna make mistakes. And that's the thing. Like, if you don't make mistakes, you're not putting your defense in a bad situation.
Yeah.
You're not giving them short fields to have to try to make a play.
Right.
They can just run their game plan, and it's going to be massive. This game coming up tomorrow,
Sure.
Chiefs versus Bills. But let's talk about the big one because this one was a shocker. Um, my Cowboys lost in the first round of the playoffs. Um,
Yep.
Go ahead, Jeremiah. I'm gonna just have to listen for a while because this was. Go ahead.
Um, so Packers took this one home. Everybody saw it. The entire world saw it.
Yeah.
48-32. Cowboys were at home. They were undefeated at home. Packers were a 7 seed. Uh, Came into the AT&T Stadium and blew everything up. It was 27-0 first half. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Yep. Um, rough, rough game for the Cowboys. Um, we'll get into that segment later, but Aaron Jones had a incredible game.
Yeah.
Who's had an up and down season. He's been hurt for a lot of it,
Mm-hmm.
but he was back healthy, ready to go right when they needed. Uh, I think this game really was. I would say two things were very interesting about this game. One, Dan Quinn, who has been a very stubborn defensive coordinator. I've been on the record saying that.
Yeah.
He's played man all season long, man defense.
Mm-hmm.
In this game, he comes out in zone. Very interesting. Not really sure why he did that. Um, but Jordan Love who, again, another young quarterback, similar to CJ, had 16 completions, 3 touchdowns, 272 yards. Uh, Managed the game perfectly, had a 99 QBR. Can't expect anything else. But to change from the Cowboys' perspective, to change what's been working, the defense has had some off games, but to change what's been working, what they've been used to,
Yep.
really doesn't make sense to me. That's the first interesting thing. The second interesting thing is the first half for me doesn't make sense. From this game, by former Packers, um, I don't claim them anymore for what happened to Devontae Adams. I mentioned that. Coming out 27-0 in the first half, completely shutting them down offensively, having their way with them on defense, really tells me that they were not prepared for this game. And I've played on teams. I've seen teams up close. When a team is not prepared, you have to look to the coaches.
Yep.
And to me, the first half of the entire game really was a bad look on Mike McCarthy and Dan Quinn. Um, Now, I don't know if, as of now, it seems as if they're going to keep their jobs. We don't know. I think McCarthy may stick around. Dan Quinn was interviewing. Who knows if he'll be back or not.
Yeah.
But those are my two takeaways. You can't expect to win a game going down 27-0 first half, and the Packers being the youngest NFL roster, the average of, I think, 25, 26 years old, beating this experienced Cowboy team really, really can't happen. So I don't know. This game really didn't make sense. Who knows? Go ahead.
Yeah, I've been a Cowboys fan all my life. And I know what y'all are gonna say. Oh, I'm so sorry. You've been a Cowboys fan all your life. You had to deal with all. Yeah, I used to be one of those fans where you get upset after every loss and you you just wear your heart on your sleeve with every game, every moment. I'm not one of those fans anymore. Um, I don't get upset with losses. This game, it surprised me, but it didn't surprise me because it's the Cowboys. Um, and I know the track record with the Cowboys, especially against the Packers. They just Mike McCarthy, Matt LaFleur, it doesn't matter. It's yeah, Aaron Jones really stole the show. And I don't know what pregame was like for them, but I'm sure he just gave them all the confidence in the world to come in and do what they did. To be honest with you, Dan Quinn, I think he sold us, and I wouldn't bring him back for anything. We saw it seemed as though he was playing scared. So the Falcons against the Patriots, Super Bowl, what
Don't
five
remind the Falcons fans.
5 years ago?
Yeah.
Sorry, Falcons fans. I know that's a heartbreaking situation for you all. But it seemed like he was playing that defense the whole game. Like prevent, like scared, trying to prevent something from happening, prevent them. It wasn't working. You steered away from your game plan. You played, like you said, Jeremiah, you played man all season long, and the wide receivers were just streaking wide open. The play for Musgrave, the touchdown was the most open a player has been all season long. And that happens in the first round of the playoffs at home. They're the seventh seed, and what are you doing? What are you doing? Like, and the fact you said very stubborn. Where are the adjustments? After the first quarter, you need to make adjustments. Like, I legitimately thought, okay, they're just filling them out, seeing what they're gonna run, and then after the first or second drive, they're gonna make the switch, make the adjustment to what you normally do. Okay, they're coming out this, we're gonna do this. There was no adjustment at all. People were just wide open the entire game. Dan Quinn told us he should have been fired. If he goes on to a new job, Seattle or wherever it's going to be, I'll be happy because that is a travesty. You can't go into the play. You had one of the better defenses all season. If it's not broke, don't fix it. Like, what are you doing? It just does. It doesn't make sense. I don't understand how or why the Cowboys just come. They came out like it was a regular season game, like it was week 6. Like we have another shot to fix it next week, or we got time to watch film and correct this issue for our next game. No, this is the playoffs. It's win or go home. The fact that you were at home, the crowd, this was the perfect scenario for the Cowboys. The Eagles gave it to you on a silver platter. You want the NFC East? Here you go. You want the second seed? Here you go. We'll gladly give it to you. We don't want it. Like, you had opportunity for 2 home games. You had the opportunity for a showdown in the NFC Championship against the more than likely the 49ers, which is what you wanted all season. And maybe you just underestimated the Packers, which is also a coaching error. It's just not something that you can do, and it's I'm not surprised because the Cowboys do this, but it's just disappointing because this is the best opportunity. The NFC is not as loaded. These teams were not as good. Eagles, everybody had some weakness. The AFC wasn't what it was. Chiefs weren't the most dominant team. Ravens were good, but even they have past struggles in the playoffs. So you don't know what you could get with them. This was the year. And if this was the year, then who knows what's gonna happen. And like I've said before in our chats, you know, if history proves as it has proven, then the Cowboys are not gonna win the NFC East next year. No team has repeated in 20 plus years as NFC East champions. So if history continues as it's been, the Cowboys will not win the NFC. Mike McCarthy has 1 year on his contract. They are keeping him, which I think is a mistake. But hey, what's another year? If you've done 3 years of this and failing in the playoffs, what's another year? I mean, it's the same thing. You have 1 more year in your contract. Um, Play it out, I guess. See what happens. And if you don't win the NFC East, as you did this past season, then that's definitely grounds for firing, or at least, not renewing your contract and not bringing you back. So, um, yeah, until next year, Cowboys, but probably not.
So I got a question for you.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna read you these stats, and without say you didn't know the score of this game, okay?
Okay.
And after I read you these stats, tell me what you think the score would be, okay?
Okay.
Dak Prescott, 41 for 60, 403 yards, 3 touchdowns, 2 picks, 1 pick 6. Tony Pollard, 15 carries, 56 yards, 1 touchdown. CeeDee Lamb, 9 receptions, 110 yards. Michael Gallup, 6 receptions, 103 yards. Jake Ferguson, 10 receptions, 93 yards. Brandon Cooks, and Jake Ferguson had 3 touchdowns.
Yep.
Brandon Cooks, 6 receptions, 47 yards. Now, reaching the Packers stats. Jordan Love, 16 for 21, 272 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Aaron Jones, 21 carries, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns.
Mm-hmm.
Romeo Dobbs, 6 receptions, 151 yards, 1 touchdown. Now, based off of that, who do you think offensively played better? And then what would the score be?
The Packers,
Okay. Why do you say
because Dak
Packers?
Dak had 2 picks, and Jordan Love did not have any picks. Aaron Jones had 3 rushing touchdowns. Did Tony Pollard have a rushing touchdown?
Yeah,
Had one.
correct.
Aaron Jones 3-1. Packers versus Cowboys in that aspect. So Packers played better offensively. Now, we didn't go over this, but Sunday, as we were watching the game, I gave my 3 keys to the game
Yep.
for the Cowboys. And you tell me if it sounds familiar. Key number 1, get off the field on 3rd down. Tell me what the 3rd down stats were.
I don't know if I have it pulled up, but for the Cowboys, it was horrible.
Let's see. Let me see if I have it. Let's see. So team, here we go. 3rd down efficiency. Green Bay 60%. Dallas 62%. That is crazy to me.
Wow.
Rushing yards. Green Bay 143. Dallas 123.
That much difference?
Turnovers. Say again.
Not that much of a difference.
Turnovers. Dallas 2. Green Bay 0. My keys to the game were run the ball, get off the field on 3rd down defensively, and create turnovers. Dallas defense did not do that. I thought that personally that the Cowboys needed to win this game defensively to win.
Yep.
I didn't think that the offense would struggle per se, but if they did, then the defense was going to have to win in the game.
Well, that was my point in asking that because you look at these other games, 26-7, 24-23, 31-17, 32-9, and 45-14. Cowboys scored 32 points. Is that not enough to win you a playoff game at home?
It should be. That's why I was saying that the defense was going to have to win. You can't give up points.
Right.
Not the Cowboys.
That's right.
The Cowboys can't. Some of these other teams might be able to and still
Right.
win. The Cowboys cannot. Cowboys they were front runners this season. They didn't play well from behind. I think there's a stat out there that Mike McCarthy is just bad at leading down as a head coach. He doesn't have comebacks. And I think he was down 14. We'll get that stat to you all and we'll post it on our YouTube. But it you have to defense. You have to stand up, and that's why I think Dan Quinn really sold them playing zone, doing a lot of things. They look confused out there. As just watching the game, they were confused. They didn't know what to do, and I feel like it's because they were utilizing a game plan that they hadn't utilized all season, and it just doesn't make sense. It's like Dan Quinn, like you said, Dan Quinn, they didn't prepare them. Dan Quinn was out taking interviews when he should have been preparing the team for a playoff game. It's like you don't know what to do, so you just play zone because you that's the default thing to do when you don't know what to do. You just play zone, but they're not a zone team.
Real quick. What's your opinion on that? Do you think the NFL should take away the opportunity for teams that are, I guess, playing or not still in the playoffs to be able to interview coaches that are still in the playoffs? What's your opinion on
No, absolutely not. That's they should abolish that rule. If you're in the playoffs and other teams want to interview your coaches, whether it be head coaches, defensive offensive coaches that are not the coordinators, whatever it is, they need to wait till after the season is up because it doesn't it takes away their mental space for what they're actually supposed to be focused on. And I was listening to a lot of commentary from Law Nation. Shout out to Law Nation. He's a Dallas Cowboy, YouTuber, um, and a lot of his speech after the game was talking about Dan Quinn and talking about how he was taking interviews and how he doesn't think that you know um, these coaches need to be taking those interviews or these other teams need to be requesting interviews. And I fully agree with that. Wait till after the season. It's not gonna be that much longer. The Super Bowl is the first or second week in February. First or
that?
second Sunday in February. That's just
Second,
a month away.
right?
Like you can wait. Like and as coaches, I would tell them I'm focused. I'm a Dallas Cowboy or I'm a I'm a Los Angeles Ram. Like I'm here right now. I need to focus on this. If you want to interview me, if you want me so bad, you need to wait. That's how I feel about it. Because and from just in the corporate world, when you have an interview, that takes up so much mental space. You're trying to prepare for the interview. You're trying to you know get your answers right for what you're gonna say, the questions that they're gonna ask. You're trying to just conjure up the best way because you want to interview. That opportunity may be something that you've been wanting for a long time. That it may be that first head coaching job or that that head coaching job that you really want in a great area. Like you really want it, so you're gonna want to do well in that interview. But if you got this playoff game looming over your head, that's what you need to really be focused on. And you can't do both at the same time. Those are two things to juggle because if your heart is over here in this interview, then your team is going to suffer. Your team is going to suffer, and it did. And you know, congratulations to Dan Quinn wherever you may go, or if not, then okay, you'll still be the D coordinator at Dallas. But no, I don't agree. I think the interview should wait till after your season is over. Now, if we lose, feel free to interview me
Yeah,
after that.
yeah,
That's fine. You don't have to wait till the whole season, whole NFL season is over after the playoffs. You don't have to do that. If we lose, fine, I'll interview. But let me focus on what I got going on right here.
yeah. I fully agree with that. And like you said, you really your mind can't really juggle both because think about it. Most case scenarios, it's a coordinator who is interviewing for a head coaching position. And if you're a current coordinator, you're thinking to yourself, okay, I can go get this head coaching job. It's living in a new city. That's a pay raise. That's
Yeah.
new opportunities. And then you think about like this playoff game coming up for the team. Like you can't do that, and you can't be focused fully on both, like you mentioned. So
Right.
training camp doesn't start till August.
Something like that. Yeah, July,
Yeah,
August. Yeah.
right. July, August. That's plenty of time. The most only two teams make the Super Bowl anyway, so a lot of these teams will lose by this week or next week, whatever the case is. So
Right.
I
Pro
agree with
Bowl
you.
week where nobody plays. I mean, come on, man. Like,
Right. Exactly.
it's
I
just
agree with you
crazy.
fully.
Yeah. Well, the Bills Steelers, we'll talk about that shortly. The Bills dominated that game. That was that was it was a blowout. It wasn't even really that close. Josh Allen played a great game. That run that he had was just incredible. And the Steelers, they need a quarterback. Shout out to Mason Rudolph. Mason Rudolph, come on to the show. Come on to the show, Mason Rudolph. Uh, somebody, somebody, shout out Mason Rudolph on Twitter and tell him about our show and tell him to come on to the show. We love to talk to him, but he he played well. He did have the one pick, but um, you know, being in that situation is tough. The Bills are rolling. They're playing well. Going into the divisional round. But without TJ Watt, it's a tough matchup for them. And the Bills were just able to do what they really wanted to do and with no resistance really.
Yeah, yeah, that's true. It was a good game for the Bills. I think I said it's important for Josh Allen not to throw any interceptions, and he didn't. So
Yep.
limit turnovers or keep it to zero turnovers. Most likely, you win the playoff game, like you mentioned. So what the Bills did, um, and yeah, Josh using his legs.
Yeah.
Hopefully, that doesn't hurt him in the future, but he's able to do it efficiently now at 8 carries, 74 yards with a 52-yard run. So
Yeah.
shout out to the
Huge.
Bills. Yeah, huge game coming up next, though. So we'll see what happens.
So let's get into that.
We'll
So
do it.
divisional playoffs this weekend. We really hope that you all are going to be in tune watching these games. Some would even say that this is the best weekend of football. So, um, Bills versus Chiefs in in Buffalo. Um,
Yep.
this is the first time that Patrick Mahomes will have a road playoff game. I'm going with the Chiefs. It's going to be a close game. Um, 30-27. I got the Chiefs.
Okay. Um, I want to share this with you.
Hmm.
Normally, normally do the ESPN analytics for the game.
Yes.
So we have the Bills coming in at 57% to win the game, and they have the Chiefs at 42.9, basically 43. Now, when I see that,
Hmm.
I look at the game. I see Chiefs are 3 seed, Bills are 2 seed, Bills
Yep.
are at home. This is Patrick Mahomes' first away playoff game.
Yep.
Now, you look at these teams and you see definitely a stronger defense with the Chiefs.
Yep.
Offenses maybe come in about the same. Maybe you could give the edge to the Bills, maybe, but either way, offenses are similar. Good kickers,
Hmm.
good coaches. Definitely would give the edge to Andy Reid, but decent coaches. Why do you think it's 57-42? I mean, why can they give the edge to the Bills?
Well, for some reason, the media loves the Bills. I don't know why. Um,
I don't either.
they they love Josh Allen. He's like their poster boy. He's like the golden boy of the NFL. I don't know why. And I mean, not to cast aspersions on Josh Allen. Shout out to Josh. He's a good player, but I don't understand it. He leads the league in touchdowns. He leads the league in turnovers. So I mean, he's up and down. lately he's been up with the new scheme for their new offensive coordinator, Joe Brady. Um, but I don't know. I don't know what they see in the Bills. I don't know why they love them so much. Um, I don't know. I can't explain it really.
Yeah, this is it's gonna be a good one. I think this probably will be the best game of the weekend. Uh,
Yep.
two QBs who love to see going against each other.
Hmm.
I'm gonna hold my prediction. I'm not gonna predict here.
Okay.
I'm gonna let you keep your prediction,
Yeah.
and maybe I'll tweet it out
Okay.
tomorrow before the game. We'll see. But right now, I'll hold it. It's gonna be a great game. It's gonna be a great game. I'm excited to see what Mahomes can do with Josh Allen. I think it might be one of those games to where whoever has the ball last wins.
Yeah,
Uh,
I agree.
we'll see. But with the Chiefs defense, I don't know. It might be a tough one for the Bills. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, I think both teams will score. Um, like I said, 30 to 27. I don't trust the Bills defense. I don't think they're gonna be able to get pressure on Patrick Mahomes. I don't know how they're gonna play him. If they're gonna play man, somebody's gonna get open. Um, and he's gonna be able to run well. But if they play zone, he's gonna carve them up. I don't see them stopping Patrick Mahomes at all. I'm honestly being gracious for the Bills and letting them get 27.
I agree with that.
I don't think they will, but that's just my prediction. Just because it's gonna be a playoff game, I think it's gonna be close. I don't see a blowout either way. If there is a blowout, Chiefs blow them out. Um, but yeah, that's my take on the game.
Gotcha. Yeah, yeah, it's gonna be a big one. Let's shift gears to um, the other AFC game, and y'all let us know in the comments below. Bills, Chiefs, who y'all got? Who think's gonna take it away? Um, Shifting gears though, the Texans Ravens, other AFC matchup. Got a obviously one seed and a four seed here with the Texans.
Right. Yeah,
Um,
that game is actually live right now. The
True.
as we're recording this, the Ravens are up 3-0. So you know, I was always taking the Ravens in this game. I do think that defensively they're up there with the Chiefs as far as top ranking defenses. They were able to watch film and hone in on CJ Stroud, and I think they're going to corral him and they're going to slow him down. So I'm taking Ravens in this game.
Yeah, yeah, I agree with that. As much as I hate to say it, but this might be the rookies' into the season. Um,
Yeah.
it's a tough Ravens team. Got the number one seed, best record in the NFL. Ravens might be too much for them, but I can still see it being close. Ravens are up 3-0, like you said, but I'm gonna
Mhm.
go. I'm gonna go 17-21.
Okay. Okay. Another close game. So I guess this is going to be the round where maybe the blowouts are not really, better teams. Um, maybe we'll see. No blowouts. Maybe I don't know. It's going to be interesting. And so we got two more games switching over to the NFC side of the playoffs, where we have the Bucks, Tampa Bay Buccaneers, and the Detroit Lions. Um, I'm gonna be honest with you. This is not a game I'm very interested in. These are two teams that
Why not? What's wrong with this game?
nothing against those two teams. Shout out to the Lions, first playoff win in 32 years. Yada yada yada. I'm yeah, just not. I'll watch it. I'm gonna watch it. It's playoffs, but just
Yeah,
these two teams. I'm just not very interested in these teams. And I actually commented on a first things first video like the fact that the Buccaneers or the Lions are going to be in the NFC Championship game is just mind blowing to me. Like I, it's just it's just a thing that you never thought you would ever see or say going into the season. But I mean, here we are. Um, Cinderella stories. You know, the Lions were good all season. They beat the Chiefs first game of the regular season. So I mean, they've proven that they should be here. But I'm gonna go Lions here in this spot, being at home, continuing their run. But I can see a scenario where the fact that they got their first win, that was very important to them. Very important to them. A game against the Lions, the Rams. I mean, we didn't talk about that game, but the Lions did prevail there against Matt Stafford and the Rams. But just getting over that hump, I do see a scenario where they let off the gas a little bit and um, take the Bucks lightly, especially going up against that Eagles team, where of course, the Eagles weren't very good. So I can see a scenario where they fall off, but I'm gonna take the Lions. Um, Again, another close game, just because I don't think the Lions defense can stop them for multiple drives. I'm gonna say, um, ooh, I'll give a prediction. I'm gonna say 28-20 Dolphins. I'm not sorry, Dolphins. Lions. Lions. 28-20 Lions.
Yeah, yeah. I think that's a fair prediction. And I gotta admit that was really a win I didn't see coming. With the
No.
Lions beating the Rams. I was high on the Rams. Um,
Yeah.
didn't trust didn't trust Jared Goff. Still don't
They're
really.
they were hot. The Rams were hot. Not to
It's true.
cut you off. Sorry to cut you off, but yeah, I picked the Rams too. I thought the Rams would win. Um, Shout out to Puka Nakua. He had an amazing game, but that was pretty much it. Nobody else really did much, and that might have been the game plan, by the Lions maybe. But they fought it. They fought it out, and they got the W, which in the playoffs is really all that matters.
It's true. Yeah, it's true. Um, Lions Bucks. And this is a weird game. Um, like you
Yeah,
like you said, one of these teams are going to be in the NFC Championship. And as far as predicting, man, I feel like a lot of people probably didn't pick either of these teams to be in the NFC Championship. Maybe the Lions, maybe some people, but
yeah.
it's going to be a weird one. 3 seed versus a 4 seed. Lions at home. I'm with you. I'm gonna give the edge to the Lions. I could see it being a nail biter because the Bucks are also hot, kind of similar to the Rams. They got hot later in the back half of the season, but
Yeah.
um, the Bucks can put up points. They can. So if you have a situation where the Lions start slow, Bucks get off to a good start. Who knows? Um, but I think I'll still give the edge to the Lions. I'll go a bit higher. I'll go 35-24. Lions.
Okay. That's a good prediction. I like that. So last game of the weekend, 49ers versus Packers. These are two coaches that are very familiar with each other. Um, and I mean, technically, you could say this is a rivalry as well. Those two teams, they did meet a lot when Aaron Rodgers was the quarterback there for the Packers. So I feel like they know each other well. They know the schemes that each offensive play caller is going to run, and so they can prep for the game. Um, but I just think the 49ers are gonna do what the Cowboys couldn't and didn't. And they're gonna prove that the Packers are the young team that everybody knew they were, and they're gonna offensively and defensively scheme themselves to a dominant win. And I don't think the Packers are gonna be equipped to handle that this weekend.
Yeah, yeah, I fully agree. It's hard here. Last week we mentioned it where we said, we picked this team, but we could see a scenario to where this team wins. This
Yep.
game, it's hard to see a scenario to where the Packers pull it out.
Yep.
So I'll go 49ers as well. At home, I'm still riding with my Super Bowl pick of Ravens, 49ers, the two number one seeds. We'll see if that happens, but they're just clear to be the best teams in the league.
Yeah.
I think you're right. I think they're going to expose this youth uh, core of the Packers.
Yeah.
I think it'll be a little higher scoring maybe than people think, but yeah, I got Niners. I got Niners 31, 31, 21.
31-21. Yeah, I'm gonna up it a little bit just because the I think the 49ers are gonna be dominant offensively. I'm gonna say um 40-24.
I was going to say, don't go 40s now. You went 40s.
Yeah.
Sheesh.
Yeah, I think Debo and they're gonna do what the Cowboys didn't or were supposed to do last week, but did. So 40-24. If the Packers somehow pull this game out, then Aaron who? Aaron, I don't know.
Aaron Jones.
Right. Um, yeah, 40-24. 49ers win. Setting up a Lions versus 49ers NFC Championship game.
Not interested in that one either.
No, not at all. um, but yeah, did you, let's move on. Let us know because we got a games to watch. Let us know in the comment section what you think. Who's coming out of those two games, Bucks, Lions, and 49ers versus Packers, and AFC as well, um, Texans versus Ravens, and Chiefs versus Bills in that game. Let us know who's going to be meeting in the NFC and AFC Championship down below. Jeremiah, here's with the nobleman of the week.
Absolutely. So yeah, we're back, guys, with Nobleman of the Week for this past week in the NFL. It was a couple good ones, a couple good players, but a lot of things we didn't expect. But Nobleman of the Week is going to my guy, Aaron Jones, running back for the Packers. Had a crazy game, 21 carries, mentioned it earlier, 118 yards, 3 touchdowns. Also had a reception for 13 yards in there. Really carried the game. He hurt the Cowboys early. Um, so that goes to Aaron Jones. Honorable mention to Baker Mayfield, who played great against the Eagles. Yeah, I
Yeah.
kind of expected it, but he still had 3 touchdowns, 337 yards. So shout out to Baker too.
Shout out Baker. Shout out Aaron Jones. They really did their thing, carrying their team to victories. And so, yeah, yeah, I think those are good picks for Nobleman of the Week. Let us know down in the comment section what you all think about Nobleman of the Week. And watch these games and hit us up in the comment section. Let us know who you nominate for Nobleman of the Week for next week. And who knows, maybe your pick will be nominated for Nobleman of the Week next week. You never know. So Jeremiah, final words as we close out the episode.
And these playoff teams want to win games, don't turn the ball over. Seems like that's the key. Um,
Yeah.
best of luck to them. We'll see what happens. I think my Super Bowl pick is still it. Ravens, 49ers. Um, we'll see. But hey, thank y'all so much for watching. Appreciate y'all. Please subscribe, like, comment, share with your friends. Let us know. Follow us on Twitter, like you mentioned, at TSPJDN. And yeah, man, we'll be watching these games.
Subscribe to the channel. Hit that notification bell so you see every piece of content that we put out, every video, every post that we put on the channel. And share it with your friends, share it with your family. We would love to get to 100 subscribers in the next few months. We're on the road to 100 subscribers. So hit that subscribe button and the notification bell. If you love talking sports, like we love talking sports, hit us up in the comments and we'll be down there talking with you all. All right. Peace, y'all. Have a good one.